Well, hello and welcome to the stream. Let's go ahead and see what we can get into. We're going to do a little bit of Philadelphia experiment. This is out of March 12th, 1994. Coast to Coast AM with Al Belick.
On the 2.5, you're hearing Coast to Coast AM with Art Bell on the CBC Radio Network. Good morning, everybody. Welcome into or back into Coast to Coast AM. From the Kingdom of God, the High Desert, to the Great American Southwest. This is what you've been waiting for. Had to track him down all the way back east, all the way to Atlanta, Georgia. The man who had been in Arizona, moved back east. The man whose name is Al Belick. The man who says he was part of the Philadelphia experiment. And there's been a movie about it, there's been articles written about it, people have talked about it for years. It was an effort to make the ship, the USS Eldridge, invisible. An experiment that went tragically wrong. And there's a lot more to it than just that. There are many details. And here's the man with us, all the way back to Atlanta, Georgia now. And I hope that everything's right. Al Belick. Al, good morning. Good morning. Glad to have you on the program again, Al. What in the world, just to start out with, took you all the way back to Atlanta, Georgia?
Well, a number of things. Number one, I had to leave the house where I was because the owner was making major changes to the house, and there was no longer going to be a bedroom for me, so I had to leave.
I see.
I had friends back here in Atlanta and other things already cooking, which made it fairly logical for me to come to Atlanta. So here I am.
All right. This is going to take a lot of preparation, I guess, in the way of getting started. But you were involved in the Philadelphia experiment, and I guess people need to find out at the start of the program here a little bit about Al Belick, who you are, who you were then, and how you got involved in all that.
Okay. Legally, my name is Al Belick, and my birth certificate says I was born on 31st of March 1927, which, of course, for many years I accepted as the gospel truth until various events occurred, starting in 1986 and then culminating in 1988 with my recollection of the fact that I was involved with the Philadelphia experiment. And simultaneously, my name was not Al Belick, but Edward Cameron. And that's a long story as to how that was changed. I was originally and actually born on the 4th of August 1916 as Edward Cameron, son of Alexander Duncan Cameron Sr. and his then living wife, whom he later left, and he was a Navy man himself at that time. He had been in the Navy since we assumed sometime around 1910 because all of those records had disappeared. We've not been able to find any of them, either when he went in the Navy or he left, though we do know when he left the Navy, which was December 31st, 1989. He had a medical condition, and he was given a medical outage and a pension. In any case, father was a Navy man for many years. We don't know too much about what he did in the Navy. We have one picture of him taken in 1917, showing him in his first class petty officer's uniform. Beyond that, we have no records of anything of what he did in the Navy. He turns up again in 1941 in the Coast Guard, but as a volunteer officer in World War II. That's part of the story of the Philadelphia experiment. I was born in 1916. I have a half brother named Duncan Cameron. He was born in 1917, May, as I remember. And I might add, all of the records for both of us in that period disappeared. Very nicely exhumed and erased by various government services who are especially appointed for those tasks.
So they have literally erased your identity?
Totally, as Edward Cameron. And the original Duncan Cameron also, the whole history of that is fun. Going to the lengths of going to create birth certificates under the original name. He had no response even from the state of New York after 9 months. And he knows anything at all about the earlier family history as a historian, actually a town historian in Bayshore, Long Island, who I finally was able to track down just well over a year ago. And he knew a great deal about the early family history. There's no place in that record does anything show up about Duncan Cameron or Edward Cameron having been born in 1916 and 17. Yet it's a virtually complete history of father. He knew that he had been involved in the Navy. He knew he would get out on December 31st, 1929, and the reasons. And there's a lot of pictures of father during the period between racing sloops on the Long Island regattas over the period of the 30s.
Well, how did you first find out, Al, that you were not the person you thought you were?
That came to me as rather a shock when in January of 1988, on Saturday night, I was watching television very late at night on HBO. And I was about to retire at 4 a.m. in the morning when it came on. So the next feature of the evening will be the Philadelphia Experiment. I missed one movie went around. It stayed in the circuit for about 2 weeks, which isn't very long, in August of 1984. And I did not know of the video. I had a great interest in the subject because for years I've been researching the subject of the Philadelphia Experiment. I had a great fascination for it. Even helped research the subject of Larry T. Sanderson when he was still alive. And I had to see it. And within the first 15 minutes, it hit me like an atom bomb, and I realized I was involved in that in some way. It took a while for it to filter down past the box which was installed. Had been years ago, and that's part of the whole story. In any case, at that point I knew I was involved with it, and it took some time for it to filter down as to which of the two principal characters I was. The better looking one turned out to be my brother, Duncan, who was a role model for him. It was really well played by him, I hope for age. It was really good role for my brother. Myself, the person who played that part, was not well played in terms of being a physical lookalike. But nonetheless, the court portrayal was actively a pregnant girlfriend at that time. We later married.
So you're saying most aspects of the movie, The Philadelphia Experiment, were accurate?
Up to the first 15 minutes were deviated from the actual facts was after we returned, actually didn't return, we went to Montauk, Long Island. Now in the movie they showed it as being in Wendover, Utah, the old Wendover Air Force Base when they arrived. And a helicopter blew up. It was a helicopter, but it didn't blow up. And the fence was destroyed, the old wanted all the rest of the story, the Philadelphia Experiment as portrayed in the movie. That part is not factual. The fact was we right there, they stated that fence was there by immediately, not 3 days later. In any case, and a lot of further memory searching and memory is coming up, and a lot of further research has been able to put together most of the story. Most of it's from memory, some of it's from contact with other people who remember me from that period. And that includes both of that one former naval officer, who's still alive, is still alive.
I was about to ask Al, when you die, who's going to be left, if anybody, if it were to occur today, who would tell the story as you're able to tell it?
The only one who would know any part of the story today would be one retired naval officer living in New York City, and my brother Duncan, the younger brother, who remembers a good part of the story that he can resurrect under hypnosis. And he is not one who ever go around the circuit doing lecturing. He prefers to be someone retiring and makes no effort not to be lecturing. He's been at 1 or 2 with me, but
okay. What about the retired naval officer in New York? Has he been on the circuit talking about this at all?
He has not. He is not reluctant to tell a story if somebody asks, but I am first going to Nichols was arrested. And how I came to know his involvement with it was the fact that President Nichols showed him, and somebody one time, this was back in 1988, either came up with Philadelphia experiment, even then, January, February. He told him all about it, he was there. And the president, I got to get you on the phone with somebody, so we arranged a conference call. And that was back in 1989, and he says, I'm introducing you to this gentleman who says that he knows about experiments, so I'll get talk with him, and so I'll remain on the line. We talked for 10 or 15 minutes, and finally, this gentleman, whose name is one case that he gave without his permission, says to me, just keep talking, and I did. Do you remember me by any chance? He said, yes, because I recognize your voice. And he said, you remember my voice? He said, yes. He said, it's part of the experiment? Yes. He said, the name of the is actually not. Well, in theory, yes. He says, well, you're estimated about 45 years in history. He came up with the name. Oh, so there you go. Yeah, this was on the phone without meeting me face to face, based on my voice only. So that was rather phenomenal itself. I've since met other people who were technically involved with the experiment one case or another. The whole thing, I was there, and many aspects of it. The case required the all right, now I'm going to ask you to move on for a second, and we're going to start the story from the beginning here in this moment. So stand by, Al Belick. We are speaking with Al Belick, who sounds as though he may be the last of those to tell the story of the Philadelphia story you're about to hear. And now back all the way to Atlanta, Georgia. And Al Belick, hold on, let me move you once again, Al. Let me move you over here. Al Belick, all the way from Atlanta. Al, are you still there? Yes, I'm here. Good. All right. Now, the Philadelphia experiment itself. You were in the Navy, and how in the world did you get involved in this, and what was it? It's a very long story, and let's begin really at the beginning of this, technically. The Philadelphia experiment didn't begin with that name. It began as a research project entitled Project Invisibility, and was a private research project undertaken initially by Nikola Tesla and Dr. John Hutchinson at the University of staff physicist, Dr. Emil Kirchenauer, and this was in the year 1931. And the long history of Tesla, of course, is a very long story to tell in itself, but briefly, been involved, of course, in many years of research himself, and his history is available from other sources. He had this idea, and these three came together in Chicago. The idea had to make nitrogen visible. There was a lot of popular press representation of that idea at that time, making nitrogen visible. But for whatever reason, these three men came together with a paper study, in essence. How can we do it? Well, they didn't achieve much of anything at that time. In 1934, the project, even though it had been funded at the beginning with some naval research money from the Office of Naval Engineering, changed its name to the Office of Naval Research in 1946. By the way, Al, is there any documentation of that from the Navy, or is that still secret? They're still classified as secret. There's no information available from the Navy. They denied at the stage of the project they were having. But they were trying. They were researching it and spending money on it. Yes. Now, in 1933, one of the things that happened, of course, was Franklin Delano Roosevelt was elected 32nd President of the United States. And he already knew Tesla from 1917, which was the period of World War I, when he was involved. He was Undersecretary of the Navy, that is, Roosevelt. And he invited Tesla to Washington and asked him to do some work for the Navy Department government to advance the progress of the war, and Tesla agreed. So the two were friends from that period in 1917. Roosevelt becomes president in 1933 and vice president of Washington, and exchange amenities and basically asks him, would you like to be director of the project you were working on? And he says, fine with me. So Roosevelt became the director of the project. In 1934, it was transferred out of Chicago to the Institute of Advanced Study in Princeton, New Jersey, which was rather newly formed and brought together in 1933. Four initial staff members, four initial members were Albert Einstein, Dr. John von Neumann, Dr. Alexander, and Dr. Oswald Veblen. They were the four original staff members, many more came later. In those days, the Institute was the premier think tank of the world, and they did a lot of very, very original research. The project was transferred there in 34, and they continued working on it and built some hardware, first initial test in 1936.
What avenue technically were they following? They were charged with making an object invisible.
The avenue they were following technically was looking at the whole structure of the matrix of space-time. And can you manipulate an object in terms of its time location or its time phase in our reality to the point where it fades from sight?
And basic approach. And literally then goes to another time or dimension or whatever.
Not totally. See, it could go, with the right hardware, it could go to another time, which would be time travel. They didn't want time travel. They wanted invisibility, which required, you might say, a phasing out of the physical region of reality while still physically it was here.
So then the object actually did not need this time. It just began the transition that would be time travel if you continued.
Correct. That was the approach at that time. And the mathematics that supported it were very involved. These earlier work had been done by many people. I won't go into all the history of it, but one of the principals that set up the math was Dr. David Hilbert from Germany, who was famous for his multiple space, multiple reality mathematics. And Dr. John von Neumann himself was a premier mathematician. In many respects, I think he was a real Einstein, because he could do hardware. Einstein didn't know what the transistor from a tube from the screwdriver. He was an excellent theoretician, but in practical matters, turned it
not hands-on.
right. Neumann was hands-on, which was a rare thing for a mathematician. He had a PhD in math in 1926 in Europe. In the U.S. in 1930, he taught at Princeton for 3 years as an adjunct professor in the graduate school. And then was invited to join the staff in 1933 along with the other three. Einstein, just from curiosity, also left Germany in 1930. But he did not go directly to the Institute, and he went actually to Caltech and taught there for a number of years, 3 years, and was invested in California. And it's a long story how he got out of Germany and was smuggled out by friends. The National Socialist Party did not want to leave, considered him a national asset. After 3 years in the West Coast, he was invited to join the Institute in 1933, and he did until 1955.
So you had some of the best minds in the world at that time working on the project.
That is correct. And the Institute was renowned then for being a think tank. It is no longer. It is going to what it does now. It's still there, still exists. But it is not doing the same kind of work. It did many research projects at that time, privately funded. The invisibility study was supported by Navy grants and research money, but it was a private research project and was not classified at that time. In 1936, they had their first hardware test, which was partly successful. Enough indication that they were getting themselves to continue their research in that direction. And they continued with this until 1940, when they had a fully successful test at the Brooklyn Navy Yard, which was a small tender.
Well, I assume before they tested on a ship, that they were testing on smaller objects in a lab environment.
That was correct. And they were starting to get results that built equipment sufficiently large to attempt to make the ship a tender approximately 250 tons visible. They put the critical equipment on board the deck of that ship, and they had other heavy equipment, just two other ships occasionally. No one was on board the test vehicle, and they ran the equipment tools on board their ship on cables, because they didn't really know for sure what would happen.
All right, Cal, again, I'm going to ask you to pause, and I'll reset you right after this break, all right? Stand by. You're listening to Coast to Coast AM on the CDC Radio Network. I'm Art Bell. Yes, I'll hear it. And there's more coming up. Just a moment. I'm Belick. I got subject to Philadelphia experiment, subject to the movie, books, and the man who was really down to tell you that story, and David Ralphie. Back down to Mr. Belick in Atlanta, Georgia. Hi, Al, you're back on the air again. All right, again, I'm checking back a little bit. They were, before we get to the ships, they were experimenting on smaller objects. Can you give me any technical on how they were, what process they were using, and how far they actually got in the lab?
Well, I can't tell you much about how far they got in the lab, because it was not part of the project until 1940, actually, January 1940, along with my brother, before the Oakland Navy Yard test. Now, to give you a brief rundown of the technical aspects of this, one has to understand that, first of all, we're not living in a three-dimensional universe, or even a four-dimensional, five-dimensional. The man who first technically explored this possibility was a man by the name of P.D.S. Penske, a Russian mathematician who wrote a book in 1951 called in English, About the Universe. And he described in there the fact that we are in a five-dimensional universe structure. Fourth dimension, of course, has been well defined as time, but it took Einstein the applied field theory and others examining this to understand that the fifth dimension is also time, but it is the next up vector, if you will, the next higher order, called T2 in mathematical notation, which is the vector which controls T1, the whole rate of time which you measure with a clock. And T2 describes, speaking again mathematically, the helix, the corkscrew of time, if you will, forward motion is the rate which we measure as time in the T1 order, the clock, if you will. But by manipulating the corkscrew, the rate at which that second vector travels the first part of time, numbers, you control the rate of flow of time. I understand, I think I can understand. The flow of time, or what you're calling T1, is what we see go by on the clock every day. That I can understand. Laid out as a long carpet running endlessly into our future. That I understand. The second T2 effect on T1, I don't yet understand. Okay, well, let me give you another analogy model. You've seen, I'm sure, these kids' toys, the long coiled spring. You hold at one end and you can jog at one end, and you see this motion, this wave through the coil as it goes to the other end and bounces back.
You're talking about a slinky.
Yeah, through a coil. Well, if you take this thing and close it in a loop like a donut, which is what Einstein said, we are living in a closed universe, everything is in a circle, including time, and you have a little bit of an idea of what we were dealing with. It's like a squeezy, except what we were doing, we were attempting to do, and eventually did succeed doing, was to enter this thing at some point along the edge of what we call our reality and create an artificial field which would affect within that field only the flow rate of time by affecting T2, you affect T1, and you can then affect position where that object, in this case, was on the edge of the coil of time, as we call it. You mathematically.
I think I've almost got this.
Okay. Now, what they were doing was by very complex fields affecting the time flow rate, and if you start to move the object around the edge, it starts to go out of our reality to the next one. You have to also understand that there are multiple realities involved in our universe. And they're all interrelated, but they're interrelated by being phased out of our reference, phased out in time by at least 90 degrees into another reality.
All right. Al, would that be, again, staying with the analogy of the slinky there, would that be instead of traveling along the surface of the slinky and going around and around and around and around, it is as though you're jumping from one link to the other link directly without traveling the entire